Hello and welcome back to another 52 weeks of financial success. We thank all of you who continue to support our program every week. If this is your first time watching us, I encourage you go back to the last few weeks so you can catch up. And then if you are ready for us to move forward, let's talk about step number 3, calculate the cost. First of all, we have to accept where we are. Second, we determine where we want to be. Now that you have accepted and you have determined, I believe you have to calculate the cost. You know, the writer Luke, in his 14th chapter, verses 28 through 30, he quotes Jesus by saying, before you start, before you build, before you do anything, you need to count the cost. He goes on to say, because unless you count the cost, you may find yourself running out of money. And then those who were looking at you building saying, hey, he or she were foolish to start building without making sure that they had enough money in order to finish the project. Well, as you go out with your goals for this year, you want to make sure that you've analyzed everything. And I believe there are 4 critical questions that you must ask and answer as we talk about calculating the cost. This is the first question. What will I have to give up? When you think about your goals, when you think about your plans this year, what are the things that you are willing to give up? If you have developed some bad financial habits, you need to be willing to give up those habits. Albert Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you really want to make this year your best financial year, if you want to save, if you want to pay off debt, if you want to invest for the future, you are going to have to give up those bad behaviors, those bad habits, and you need to replace them with good habits. And so the first thing you have to do is say, what am I willing to give up? Second, you have to ask the question, what price am I willing to pay? You know, I found that paying the price is nothing but an idiom that says, I am willing to give up something to receive something of greater value. You know, to be a doctor, you have to give up long years of time studying. To be a professional athlete, you've got to give up your time of training and practice. Well, to be successful financially, you're going to have to give up the discipline and the time that it takes in order to get in the habit of saving, investing, and planning for the future. And so for you, paying the price may mean getting a second job. For someone else, it may mean working overtime. For someone else, it may mean I cannot eat out every day of the week. You have to determine what price you are willing to pay and commit to paying that price. And then the third question you have to ask is, if I have not started before, when am I going to begin? I'm always reminded of the words by Dr. Benjamin Mays, who said, I've only just a minute. Only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. Give account if I abuse it, just a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. And that's what I believe we have to do. Every time I hear those words from Dr. Mays, it reminds me that I have to do it now. I can't wait till next year. I can't say I'll do it after I get my tax refund. I can't say I'll do it after the kids graduate from college. Now is the time that I'm going to start on this financial journey. You know, I've heard a lot of people say, well, you know, Winfrey, I'll start when everything is perfect. Well, everything will never be perfect. So you need to go ahead and begin now. Because if you haven't done it in the past, forget about it. Now is the only time that we have, and I want to encourage you to start. But then this is the final question you have to ask. What has to happen before I take action? You know, I end with this gut-wrenching question because I found for some people, they can't have triumph unless they've had tragedy. For some people, they can't really experience joy until they've gone through pain. And some people have said that we learn better through our own experiences. But I believe that we can learn from the experiences of others as well. So let me ask you these questions and we'll be done. How many more families do you have to see struggle after a loved one passes away before you see the importance of having life insurance? How many family members or seniors that you know who continue to work well into their 70s, sometimes in their 80s, not because they want to, but because they have to. How many more people do you need to see in that position before you get serious about saving for your retirement? You know, how many other kids do you have to see work 2 or 3 jobs while in college to be able to pay their way through school before you decide, I may need to set some money aside for my child's college education? I ask you these questions because sometimes it's not until we are faced with the reality of where we are before we realize how serious it may be. So I'm encouraging you, calculate the cost. Ask yourself, what am I willing to give up? What price am I willing to pay? If I haven't started before, when am I going to begin? And what has to happen before I take action? Let me give you our action tip for this week. I want you to write down at least 3 bad financial habits that you have. You know what they may be. For some of you, it may be shopping on impulse. For some, it may be overspending every month. For some, it may be eating out more, buying groceries, still eating out, so wasting money on groceries, overspending on eating out. Write down at least 3 bad financial habits that you know you have. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to replace those bad habits with 3 new ones. Because I found that, yes, we can take it out, but if we do not replace it with something good, we'll find ourselves repeating the same things that we've done. And then the third thing I want you to do is to commit to making those new habits your new lifestyle. It's going to be uncomfortable at first, but I like what Frederick Douglass said. He said, where there's no struggle, there's no process. So if it's not going to be good for you, it's going to be hard for you, yeah, you're going to have to do better. But I believe that if you follow and commit to these steps, this will be your best financial year yet. So again, thank you for tuning in. Go to our website, download our free chapter of our new book, 7 Secrets to Financial Success. Listen to our radio program every week. And then tune back in next week, same time, same station, for 52 weeks of financial success. Thank you.